Patreon member shout out. I'm haunted by this photograph and don't know why. Every time I look, I get shivers down my spine. You're such a beautiful face. I know those eyes. Take me. Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a Veve OMI update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. And comment down below if you like Sean Flukloff with She Could Be You. That was a song. Anyway, guys, this is going to be a new price prediction video. I had mentioned this the other day. It was like a few nights ago. Somebody super chatted me like $2 and like, hey, price prediction end of year. And I was like, oh God, okay. And this was also recently brought up on Hello K's stream. He was somewhere eating an amazing burger with fries and this peanut sauce. It looked amazing. Anyway, and I'll bring his... K is very level-headed, very conservative, and quite possibly a good deal smarter than me. So take that into consideration when I give you my price target. His, he said, was about 1 to like 1.5 cents by Q1 of next year. So I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios. I'll start with the worst one, and I'll go from there. You know, if you have, let's say, you know, doomsday Black Swan scenario, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine gets worse, Russia takes over and decides, YOLO. You know, let's say Putin's riding that white horse and says, I'm going to take over the Baltic states, I'm going to take over this, take over the world, and an actual like World War III scenario happens, and they call me back. It's like, oh man, good thing I'm getting in shape. You know, let's say you have that, you know, CPI is not good. Obviously, Facebook's not doing good. Netflix is losing a bunch of subscribers. They lost like $50 billion, you know, off their market cap. So let's say that happens and, you know, there's actual uncertainty in the world and we have like a new pandemic, one that actually really kills people a lot. And, you know, this project could go to zero or close to zero and Black Swan event goes to nothing. Do I expect that to happen? No. That's like outlier, way bottom. The bullish sentiment, like, I'll go the extreme first on the super hyper bullish golden goose scenario and say that the golden goose scenario is actually very bearish short term for the price of OMI. It would be the fact that they would be able to get OMI utility as far as getting the queue up, getting the web app up, and, you know, people spending lots of money in the app, which is great. The price of all the NFTs would go up, and again, once they have this OMI utility, as far as OMI to NFT, let's say they get that in Q2 and Q3, and then they just start burning massive amounts from the circulating supply, and then the price doesn't move. Let's say we get 2 more exchanges. And because what I've said before, Reese had said 4 to 5 new exchanges by end of March next year, so 2023. And let's say we get 4, and 2 of them, you know, we get 1 in Q2, we get 1 in Q3. And then let's say by the time all this happens, we have 2 kind of crappy exchanges, which I think is right. We'd get 2 crappy ones, you know, kind of around Bit4X level. We would get 1 good one, like a KuCoin, Kraken type of deal, maybe like Crypto.com, like for one of them, and then one of them is probably going to be like a Coinbase or Binance type of deal. Again, that's just my theory, no inside info here, I don't have any of that. But the idea that we could get this OMI utility, we increase our users a little bit because the app is blowing up so much, and you get some FOMO into the app, so people are like, oh, this OMI, is this like a stable coin? This hasn't moved at all. So they use OMI not thinking that it's attached to this project, like, oh, okay, I'm going to use it, thinking that it's, again, there'll be misinformation out there being like, oh, there are 750 billion tokens. So, and people will get in and not understand that there is a reserve wallet, and we burned a lot from the reserve wallet, and there's a circulating supply, and like, yeah, hundreds of billions. They just won't care. They'll just buy a bunch of OMI just to be able to use it for the NFTs. And let's say instead of, you know, about $1 billion a week that we're doing right now, you know, let's say by Q4 of this year, we double the amount of views, which is nothing. let's say quadruple the amount of users. Let's say we have like, 2 million actual like wallets that have more than 2 NFTs in there. And so we quadruple that. So at that point, we would quadruple the amount of burn, and we'd have about 4 billion per week. But that's not including the additional drops that we would get. Let's say we double the amount of drops as well. And guess what? If we can do that, if let's say Veve decides to raise money, let me show you something real quick. The metaverse startup known as Sandbox is reportedly raising $400 million at a $4 billion valuation, what they have right now. Call me crazy, but the company that is partnered with Disney and WB and Marvel and the United States Postal Service will have some marketing at some point this year. Dare I say that, again, this is the absolute golden goose scenario. They have that. They get localization Q4 or even Q1, whatever. And let's say that the reason why I bring this up is because I think that Veve, which according to Vanity Fair is quoted as a multi-billion-dollar company, at least that's what they value it as. Vanity Fair is pretty good. So I would say they could also raise hundreds of millions of dollars, buy some new devs, and suddenly we just start cranking out drops. At some point this year, there'll be no drops. There'll be no days where we don't have a drop. They will all be like seven drops a week, 8 drops a week. So let's say we just double, like 8 drops a week. Plus we have 4x the amount. So we would be burning about 8 billion OMI per week at that point. So if the price stays where it is for the end of the year, just because people aren't recognizing that OMI is a good is like one of the best investments that you could make, not financial advice. Let's say they only recognize that in Q4 when Veveverse is rolled out. It could happen sooner, but I'll just say Q4 for this example. And suddenly, or let's say it's rolled out in Q3, but you're not actually able to buy land until Q4. And then people are like, oh, okay, let's go. So at that point, let's say we burn 100 billion OMI, from this, and then we get, so that would bring us to about 212 billion OMI, give or take. And let's just round it up and say 200 billion OMI from the circulating supply. And now people are really stacking in. And people recognize that, oh, hey, now we're on Coinbase. Now we're on Binance. Q1 next year. Again, price prediction for a calendar year. End of Q1 next year, in this golden goose scenario where we have burned 114 billion from the circulating supply, would be, and we are a top tier project, and we have marketing from Coinbase, Disney, WB, localization. We have millions of people on here. I think that at 10 cents, we'd have a $20 billion market cap. And that, I think that would be pretty conservative for everything that I just said going down. 20 cents by end of Q1 next year would give us a $40 billion market cap. If we reach meme coin status, I think that's probably fine. Well, let's go at 25 cents, make an even $50 billion market cap for OMI. I think in this golden goose scenario that is possible. Now let's move on to most likely what we're going to have. And why I think K is, I'll use some of K's examples here. He had said that, and it's true, there's a lot of people on here, there's a lot of whales that won't dump, but they will take profit, and there'll be a lot of sell pressure at about a penny and a half, whatever, give or take. And there's also one person we'll call, he who shall not be named, that has billions of tokens and will consistently dump and try to suppress the price. Cool. You can do that every single day as long as you want to, while we have, 3 million in volume a day? Let's take a look at that. Not even half of that. $1.34 million in trading volume over the last 24 hours. And that's why we have barely over $700 million market cap. That is nothing. That is absolutely nothing. So, it's easy to dump on people and manipulate the price when we have less than $1.4 million in volume each day. I don't care how much OMI you have. This person Well, let's say let's say this person, baddest of the bad, has 8 billion OMI. You know, just throwing that out there. Random number. Okay, well, how much can you actually sell at a penny? Well, at $1, you'd have $8 billion, and at 10 cents, you'd have 800 million. Okay. Well, at a penny, you'd have $80 million. If somebody, how ridiculously stupid you are to dump their whole bag at a penny for $8 million where they know where this price is going. Okay, $80 million. Once we have all this marketing, and I'm not even saying that they're going to utilize any type of localization or crazy marketing, but if you're on Coinbase and Binance, good freaking luck keeping this volume down to 1.3 million a day. We've been up to actually sometimes 20 million per day while we've been on these crappy exchanges. What do you think is going to happen when we get top tier exchanges? I think that we can go $100 million volume daily is not out of the question at all. Like, not at all. Especially when people say, like, oh, this is the only crypto associated with Disney. And he's not the only bad actor. And let's just say that there's some people that are not bad actors either. Let's say that we get 10% of the circulating supply. Let's say we get 30 billion OMI that wants to be liquidated at a penny. Okay, all right, so 30 billion OMI liquidated at 1 penny. Let's do the math here. At $1, that would be $30 billion. At 10 cents, that would be $3 billion. And at 1 cent, that would be $300 million, which is a lot, but haven't NFTs gone for that much? Like single ones? $300 million. And if you have $100 million in volume a day, okay, $300 million is gone in 3 days. Now, like I said, if 10% of the circulating supply was dumped at a penny and we have 100 million in volume each day, we get rid of that in a couple of days. And then we go to the moon. So I understand 100% that what Hello K is saying is, yes, we will have people dump, we will have people taking profit. And some people take more profit at 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever. But I also think that there are many people that underestimate, again, meme coins with like zero utility. And again, this is not even listed as a metaverse token yet. So, in my opinion, I think that I will expect some delays. On K's stream, he had mentioned that Akomi is there are big people, like the biggest whales on Veve right now, do have their accounts restricted, or at least 1 or 2 of their accounts restricted, because of the whole gem fiasco that happened last month. And most likely, Veve and Akomi is not going to want to piss those people off, so they're not going to roll out the OMI utility, the Q drops, until their investigation is done. And if they've been investigating for about a month and it's almost done, let's say we have another month of investigation before they get their accounts back. Okay, that brings us to mid to late May, halfway through Q2, and finally we get it end of May. We get this OMI utility end of May in Q2. That's still Q2. Let's say we wait till June. Okay, let's say we are delayed OMI utility until June, Q2. Still late Q2, and we're still going to get it. That's when I think you'll see the price start moving a little bit. And when the Veveverse rolls out, my opinion here, we have Reese that said that they were paying for the Veveverse, meaning the Veveverse is not vertically integrated to Veve and Akomi. I think with the 100 devs that they have, maybe, I'm just pulling that out of my butt, out of my keister. If they did have that many devs working on it, the Veveverse would not be close to be ready right now. Which makes us seem, again, if Reese says they're paying for it, it might mean that they're having another company do that for them. And that is why I'm very, very bullish on this coming out. And Reese seemed very confident. Yeah, no, Veveverse this year. Once we have OMI utility, and let's say we only get partial OMI utility in Q2. Let's say it's just the OMI raffle. And then they don't roll out OMI to NFT until Q3. And then they don't roll out Veveverse till end of Q3 with no land sales. And then you have land sales Q4. Again, assuming that things are delayed a little bit, I don't see how we roll out the Veveverse and there be land sales on it and we be below 3 cents. So I think by end of Q1 next year, God, even if no OMI is burned, and this is a, Hello K, so this is an S tier project. This is better than most other cryptos in general out there, and it's not even listed as a metaverse token yet. There, NFTs aren't on Immutable X, they're not on OpenSea. You can't use OMI to do anything yet. You actually can use it to buy stuff on Immutable X, so I do take that back. At 5 cents, that is if we don't burn any OMI, that's still like a $15 billion market cap, which I get it, is a lot, but to me that is, this should not be this cheap, and it should not be that cheap either. So I think 5 cents is probably my base case by the end of next year. Or not the end of next year, the end of Q1 of next year. About 1 year from now. It was like early Q2. So any other scenarios outside of that, you could, let's say we have further delays and we have bear market, crypto winter, and maybe we do reach 5 cents, but then because of that, we go back down to 1 to 2 cents, maybe. Or in a slightly more bullish scenario is that, let's say we're in a super cycle. Let's say the conflict between Russia and everything ends. Let's say that, we have a little bit of a dip when, as interest rates rise and inflation rises, but then we recover and we go to, I think that, at that point, if we burn a lot, then, okay, let's say we go to 250 billion. So, 4 cents would be about 10 billion. So let's say 8 cents and we're at 20 billion. That's also possible, Q1 of next year. But I mean, again, I think it's much more possible to have that golden goose scenario than it is to have that black swan scenario. Obviously, I'm leaning my base case is about 5 cents. And I do think that it is more likely, because of bear market uncertainty and all that we go towards like the 2 to 3 cent range than we would to the 8 cent range. But again, that's also pretty short term. Like even at 5 cents, you're 20xing your money in 1 year. It was bananas. But at that point, the end of Q1 of 2023, you have about a year and change before the next Bitcoin halving comes out. And like, my good golly gosh, you do have at the end of this year some midterm elections, which could affect that if it happens the way that people like, and you could and 2024, when you have those other elections as well, the big ones, in conjunction with the next that's going to be insane. And I also would like to point out that Citibank sees the metaverse economy as large as 13 trillion by 2030. So let's say we get 0.01% of that, or something like that. Honestly, as far as metaverses goes, Jesus, other companies are going to fold in front of us. Because I know everyone and their sisters are going to have a metaverse. We will be ahead of them by a long shot. A lot of them. I don't... Remember in that documentary they filmed called Mermaids, the Body Found, and after a while, and spoilers if you haven't seen it, after a while the main scientist guy leans in and says, what we found was a mermaid. What we have here, in my opinion, this is the best investment, I think, in my life. I sold Tesla for this. I sold my 1 out of 12 of a kind Pokemon card. And yeah, there were delays, and yeah, like I make it a meme that was just fill our bags one last time, as if we're saying morphin' time. I would do it all again if I could get more money, which I guess I could sell Dashi, which I would never do. but maybe for the right price. I don't know. Comment down below how much you'd pay for Dashi. Someone offers 100 grand. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if Dashi's worth that. Well, maybe. The artist has died. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. To the moon! Everyone, please check out at HeyDaveDon, at King Mavs Forever over on Twitter, Standoff Chart and King Mavs over on the Veve app, Kobe Collects and OMI Player 1 over on the YouTube, RayThax.ETH domain name, Kyle Willson, Wendy Stibalis, Veve Las Vegas, Taps Trays, Mars Davis, Legacy of Bermuda, Sody Pop Media, The Gale, Veve Darklink, and Veve Vibes, all on the YouTube. And also, we do have at WhatWizardVeve and Gary O at 1234CA3, all on the Twitter. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow, 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 meow.